am just getting everything set up right now. Let's see. Okay. Nico says, Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen, Nico. You off says, good morning, good morning. So today we are actually going to be reading a story. Well, I am going to be reading a story. Nico has the emoji. But yes, since it's the holiday season, I feel like we should read A Christmas Carol. I think it is quite lengthy, so I probably should start soon. It's by Charles Dickens, and everybody can feel free to join in with respectful commentary, because this is the first time I'm going to be reading something online, so let's see how that goes. Also, I haven't read this story for a very long time, and I also don't usually read out loud except for your guys' comments. So we will see how this goes. Nate says, hello, Domina, smiley face. Hello, Nate. Welcome back to my channel. All right, I'm going to link my wish list because it is the holiday season. Bradley says, hello everyone. Also, I thought the tiger was real. Oh man, I wish it was real. I would love a pet tiger. But yes, don't forget to thumbs up this video if you like it and if you like me. But yes, today we're going to try doing something a little bit different. And we'll see how it goes because I don't know. First time for everything, we're going to be, well, I'm going to be reading Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. And as I'm getting that set up, all right, I will wait for a couple more people to arrive. Benny says, nice to see you, Miss Mara. Nice to see you too. Maybe I should take a sip of water beforehand. Tom Smith asks, how are you doing today? I'm doing fantastic. How are all of you? Benny! Benny also asks, how are you today, Miss Mara? I'm doing well, thank you for asking. I know I'm a little late today. Well, this is like the latest that I will start streaming, but surprisingly, I have streamed for over 4 hours starting at this time, and most of my viewers were from like the UK, so we'll see. And a couple from the Scandinavian areas. All right. So, I guess I'll start reading A Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Stave 1. Marley's Ghost. Benny says, I'm so happy to see you, Miss Mara. Thanks. Feel free to jump in anytime if you have any commentary on the Christmas Carol. I do say that I am going to be talking about it as we go along, so we'll see. Mehrose or Mehrose says hello and good morning. All right, so Marley was dead to begin with. There's no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know, of my own knowledge, what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I like that. He has some humor. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade. But the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and my unhallowed hands shall not disturb it, or the country's done for. You will therefore permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was as dead as a doornail. So already in this first paragraph, actually third paragraph, there's a lot of exclamation. He also says dead a lot, and doornail. Whoever came up with that saying, anyway? Bradley asks, dead doornail? Yes, I'm reading a book right now. I'm reading A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I just started because I wanted to see how this would go. So I'm going to be reading per paragraph, and then you guys are welcome to comment. But I'm already having fun reading this because I guess Charles Dickens has a little bit of humor that I didn't find when I was reading him during high school. Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole assign, his sole residue legatee. Legatee? How do you pronounce Legatee? I'm just gonna say legatee. His sole friend and sole mourner. And even Scrooge was not so dreadfully cut up by the sad event, but that he was an excellent man of business on the very day of the funeral, and solemnized it with an undoubted bargain. The mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point I started from. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I'm going to relate. If we were not perfectly convinced that Hamlet's father died before the play began, there would be nothing more remarkable in his taking a stroll at night in an easterly wind upon his own ramparts than there would be any other middle-aged gentleman rashly turning out after dark in a breezy spot, say St. Paul's churchyard for instance, literally to astonish his son's weak mind. Wow, this is a really long sentence. So basically he's relating this scenario to, if you guys have watched Lion King, it's based off of Hamlet, and also an old Japanese cartoon that actually came before it. And Simba was, I guess, Hamlet, who was predicted to take over, Mufasa, his father's lands, before his uncle Scar kills him. So I guess they're relating this scenario to that, which is funny that I'm using a Disney movie as reference, of course. Of course I am. Man, I don't know if I can continue on like this. We'll see. This is the first page, so we'll see how it goes. In short, old Marley is dead, and Scrooge knew him. If you guys don't know what Christmas Carol is, A Christmas Carol is when Scrooge is kind of like, this is a person and a character who the Grinch is based off of. He's like a grumpy, grouchy old man who is a penny pincher, even though he's quite wealthy, has more than other people in the town. And this Christmas story is a way to tell him through his dreams, through different spirits, 3 different types of spirits, the past, the present, and the future, that if he continues being this type of, you know, unsavory character, if you will, to the general public, then he will end up dying alone and unhappy for the rest of his life. So this is actually kind of like, you know, last week we were talking about lessons and how, you know, the fables and other occult characters teach us lessons. We also glazed over the Bible a little bit about lessons. This is kind of an old English type of lesson that is definitely a good one. And it's a story that has come through the ages for a very long time, so yes. Steven says, hi there. Hi, Steven. I'm trying to read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. It's not going so well. Because it's very old and it's very British. And also, like, I already know the story through, like, Mickey Mouse and Uncle Scrooge, the old Disney shorts. So, Benny asks, did you agree with femdom religion, Miss Mara? What about femdom religion? You gotta be more specific. First of all, I actually dislike religion. I prefer to be like a non-denominational spiritual person. Nate says, and the Muppets version too. Well, ooh, I didn't see the Muppets version. I actually haven't seen a lot of the Muppets, I guess the TV show. I've only seen, I think, the movie, and it's the modern movie that came out. But, yeah, during school, fun fact, I was able to visit Jim Henson's studio in New York, which is really cool. I got to see one of the Big Bird costumes and... Oh, wait, that's not the Muppets. Oh, my God, I'm talking about Sesame Street. Oh, no, that's so bad. That's horrible. Scratch that. Wait, no. Am I right? Oh no, I'm getting them mixed up. Sesame Street is Big Bird. However, the Muppets is like, isn't that Miss Piggy and stuff? Nate says, Jim Henson did Sesame Street. Yeah, got that. So who was the... It was the Hensons, though. Henson Company. Yeah, the Muppets were created by Jim Henson, so I wasn't wrong. But they are different TV shows. Slayvana says, hi, whichever live I miss, you wear your gloves on them. Why do I miss that? I don't know. You should just come to all of my live streams and find out then. Nate says, Kermit, Miss Piggy is Muppets, Big Bird is Sesame Street. Yeah, but they are all under the umbrella of the Jim Henson Company. Aren't they? Hang on. Sesame Street. Sesame Street. Oh, no, they're not. Sesame Street was... No, wait, it was. The program, okay, so Sesame Street was also known for its images communicated through the use of Jim Henson's Muppets as well. Yeah. Henson joined the children's educational television program Sesame Street, where he helped to develop the characters for the series. Nate says Jim Henson's company also did the Ninja Turtles, the original trilogy. Oh, cool. Man, full circle. We were talking about the Ninja Turtles the other day. Actually, twice in different streams. Lou Van says, hey, how are you, Miss Mara? I am doing well. Bradley says, man, I hate Ninja Turtles. It's so cringe. For the 80s, it was a thing. I actually kind of liked the show. It was very, like, it was very its own thing. Okay, I'm going to continue my storytelling through A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I should just read one page and see if I could get through it. But yes, I will be jumping back and forth through the live chat. Nate says, the first film is awesome, very dark, with character depth. The rest are to meh. Honestly, things were much better back in the day, I think, writing-wise. And character development. Well, that has to do with writing too, but yeah. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood, years afterwards, above the warehouse door. Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge, Scrooge, and sometimes Marley. But he answered to both names. It was all the same to him. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hey, I like this guy. If he wasn't such a douche, I think he'd be okay. Maybe he would even be into kink. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire. Secret and self-contained and solitary as an oyster. Ooh, I like that sentence. It's kind of sexy. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped at his pointed nose, shriveled his cheek, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and spoke out shrewdly at his grating voice. Man, if that doesn't paint a picture, I don't know what does. A frosted rime was on his head and on his eyebrows and his wiry chin. He carried his own low temperature always about him. He iced his office in the dog days, and it didn't thaw once. Oh, and it didn't thaw 1 degree at Christmas. Krishma says, love from India. External heat and cold had little influence on Scrooge. No warmth could warm, no wintry weather chill him. No wind that blew was bitterer than he. No falling snow was more intent upon its purpose. No pelting rain less open to entreaty. Foul weather didn't know where to have him. The heaviest rain and snow and hail and sleet could boast of the advantage over him in only one respect. They often came down handsomely, and Scrooge never did. See, they're talking about how stingy this guy is already. He's like Mr. Freeze in a body of like a decrepit, decaying old man who is also a lawyer. So, first page is painting that picture really well, actually. Nobody ever stopped him in the street to say with gladsome looks, "My dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see me?" No beggars implored him to bestow a trifle. No children asked him what it was o'clock. No man or woman ever once in all his life inquired the way to such and such a place of Scrooge. Even the blind men's dogs appeared to know him, and when they saw him coming on, would tug their owners into doorways and up courts, and then would wag their tails as though they said, "No eye at all is better than an evil eye, dark master." Man, this guy's like the devil to everybody. Bradley says, "Oh man, good story so far." Yeah, I kind of am enjoying it now that I actually am older and not in high school. Like, I'm not forced to read this. I'm actually like, this is pleasant. I should have a cup of tea. No, I should have a hot toddy. Someone should make me a hot toddy. Nate says there's a 'Twas the Night Before Christmas BDSM version if you're interested, lol. But is it graphic? Because if it's graphic, I can't necessarily read that on here. What? Can you link me? Link me, and then I will take a look at another time and see if I can read it in on a different week. Kent has tipped me $5. Hi, Kent. He says, "Hello, ma'am. Small pecker tax." Thank you, Kent. By the way, since we're talking about that, 2 weeks from now, since you guys are on my stream, I'm going to take a break from Christmas Carol reading really quick. I am going to be releasing my own chastity collection, so look out for that because it's freaking gorgeous. You guys know my style. You guys know how I am. It matches me completely. So please stay tuned for that. I will be having a video for it. Actually, there'll be 2 videos. There's going to be one video where I tell you about it and I show you the products. And then there's going to be another video. If you purchase the product, I will show you how to use it and possibly do more sexy, scintillating things. Bradley says, "A hot what?" A hot toddy. A hot toddy is an alcoholic beverage that is actually warm, sometimes served with a cinnamon stick. It's really delicious. Let's look up the best hot toddy recipes. It obviously has whiskey in it because I'm a whiskey girl. So, oh, some people some people serve it with a cinnamon and a lemon wedge. So basically it's 1 teaspoon of honey, 2 fluid ounces of boiling water, and then 1.5 fluid ounces of whiskey. Obviously it's gotta be a good one. And 3 cloves, 1 cinnamon stick, and 1 slice of lemon, and a pinch of ground nutmeg. Honestly, it's just like grating it over the thing. So yeah, it's basically like, you know how there's mulled wine? This is mulled whiskey. Krishma says, "What did Scrooge do wrong, lol? He saved his life. He's definitely better than the evil corporate people who invade our privacy and sell us dangerous stuff stuff they certify themselves." Yeah, that's true. But Scrooge wasn't a very nice person, and that's why this Christmas story is about teaching him how to kind of care, like be in better care for his fellow like man, because he's very stingy. He's very like just unpleasant is the biggest word that I can, come up with. He's just this shriveled old man that hasn't laughed in years, probably hasn't cried in forever. So, and since he is a good businessman, he's a good lawyer, obviously he's good at what he does, but this is like, hey, since you're good at all those things, how about be a good person too? It's supposed to be an uplifting, motivational story. Kent says, "That sounds great. Might get me to finally take the plunge." Yeah. Well, I don't know how that speaks about coming onto my live streams and that wasn't enough for you to take that plunge, but okay. If my collection can do it, at least I'll get endorsement from that. Nate says, "Read here? Didn't think of that. Just for your own reading, lol." But is it PG or is it pretty graphic? Carlton Hero Turtle says, hello, Miss Mara. Hope you are well. Have you seen the Ross Kemp version of A Christmas Carol? Ross Kemp. Let's look it up. Ross Kemp Christmas Carol. He says it's the British version. Honestly, I don't think maybe I have, actually. I've read the book. No, not this version. I think the one that I saw was the American one. And then obviously the Disney versions as well. Bradley says, that sounds good. About the hot toddy? Yes, it does. Nate says, oh, sorry, I don't think it's graphic, but funny. You'll be the judge, as always. I'll look it up then. Gaming Hub. What are the best memories you have with subs? Probably ones that actually incorporate activities outside of the play space. So I really like hanging out with my subs, and that's not necessarily as like a friend to friend thing. There's like a gray area that umbrellas that, but I really do enjoy it when I can have a meal with them. If they're purchasing lunch for me or taking me shopping and letting me, buy myself a nice piece of lingerie, or if they allow me to, I don't know, just drive me around anywhere I want to go. And just kind of cater to me and my whims. That's kind of the best types of interactions that I've had, because then if that's before or after play, it just makes it more wholesome to me, because there's more than just play, because we can interact outside of that and still be mistress and sub, mistress and kinkster, That's kind of a general statement, and there's specific instances that I've had that were really amazing. Last year, the beginning of this year? Oh my gosh, it was the beginning of this year. Man, it really feels like forever because of the whole COVID thing. But at the beginning of this year, I had somebody from Chicago reach out to me through phone. And after our phone conversation, he scheduled a 2-hour, I usually say dinner date because I usually play in the evenings when it has to do with dining. However, this was a lunch date, but it was technically dinner because we went to a steakhouse and he didn't like anything on the menu. And quite frankly, it was very plain for me as well. So I ended up telling him, like, I agree, the food looks good, it's just I am not feeling like salads or, chicken and whatever. We went to a steakhouse, so we wanted steak, and he actually got the maitre d' to give us the dinner menu, and we ordered like 3 appetizers from there, a surf and turf, so it was like a steak and lobster tail thing. We had a whole bottle of wine, and then after the meal, which only took like an hour and not even an hour and a half, it was like an hour and 20 minutes maybe, because they were pretty quick. There wasn't a lot of people there, even though our meal was quite lavish. Then we went to, it was part of this like strip of kind of fancy malls, so we walked around there. We went to a lingerie shop that I really love, and he was like, go ahead and pick out any set you want and any other thing. And so I got a lingerie set, as well as a couple of small toys and silicone toys, and a pair of something special that I'm actually going to make into an ASMR video coming next year. And then after that, we drove to my play space, which I still had in the beginning of the year, And then we played for 2 hours, and it was great. It was such a great experience. And that was the first time we played, and obviously we haven't played since because he lives in Chicago, but that was awesome. So long story short, it's experiences like that where I can get to know that person, we get to share a meal, experience the outside world together, even though we're still in the dynamic, and then we play. Or vice versa, we play and then go do those things. Krishma says, I don't know, Scrooge story feels like that. Somehow you must spend a lot of money on Christmas. I don't know. Always felt festivals forced people to buy crap they never wanted, which makes sense. Poor people, poorer, and rich, richer. So that's not what the story is about. The story, Scrooge's character is very like into keeping all of his money. Basically, he doesn't spend it. If he has to spend it, it's because of his business, but he doesn't spend it on anybody. He barely spends it on himself. And so the story is trying to have him open up and give back to everybody because he has the means, because he is wealthy. And then unfortunately, people have corporate companies, like you mentioned, have converted that into a marketing ploy where it's like, yes, this is the season of gift giving and everybody needs to buy a bunch of stuff. And then the whole consumerism culture of, the Western world took that and was just like, here are all the deals. Like Black Friday happens. It's like, here's all the deals for after Thanksgiving. It's like, who the heck wants to get up at the crack of dawn or not sleep from the previous night after stuffing yourself to go purchase gifts or things just because they are at a lower price? It's such a weird thing. Like, I'm not a fan of it, but it is what it is, I suppose. I don't know. Nate says the link is above. Oh no, I don't see the link. Can you, and it might be because one of the words in the link is banned. So please email me at that. Thank you, Nate. Okay. John says, hey, Miss Mara, would you do vacuuming videos? I would if someone bought me a vacuum bed. So purchase a vacuum bed for me and I will do custom videos. Raymond says, hi, Miss Mara. The 1951 version with Alistair Sim is the best. Maybe that one was the one that I saw. Who knew there were so many versions of this? See, this is why it's such a big thing. I just picked it because I haven't read it for a long time, and it's a good lesson to learn. Let's see, 1951, Christmas Carol. I think this is the one that I saw, because it was grainy. Yes, this is the one that I saw. Ebenezer Scrooge. Yeah. Nate says, I'm surprised by some of the comments here. No one has read Christmas Carol. It's a really old piece of literature. I probably wouldn't have read it unless I mean, it was my homework to read it, so that's the reason why I took it upon myself to actually do it. And I liked it when I was younger, but now that I'm reading it again, I'm actually enjoying it a lot more because I think I understand Dickens better. Like in the first page and a half of what I just read, he's got a style of writing. He has a sense of humor. He's kind of gothic, and that's kind of all the things that I like. Like the way he describes Scrooge in that one paragraph was awesome. And I've never seen it that way before. Eden says, good evening, Miss Mara. How was your week? It was fantastic. If you guys haven't seen my last video, I now have an Amazon store where you can purchase toys and stuff that I have read that's seen as highly rated or that I have myself. So go check that out because, yeah, it's a really good resource for upgrading your current toys and buying new supplies for yourself if you want to get intimate this holiday season. Christmas says they increase the price and then decrease it near Christmas, and once Christmas is over, it goes much lower. Thanks. Yeah, consumerism. Nate says, I'm sorry, I meant to add, read, or seen any of the versions. Oh. Nate says, I'm sorry, I meant to add, read, or seen any of the versions of Christmas Carol, or at least know of the gist of what it is. Also sent the email, Domina. Thank you. John says, if you had a vacuum, would you do vacuuming up socks videos or vacuuming up leather glove videos? Just asking. No. So you're actually talking about an actual vacuum. No, I wouldn't do that unless somebody requested it as a custom for me. And you can do that by emailing me at my email address that I had posted earlier. So. Okay, I'm going to continue reading this. John says, cool. Bradley says that would break the vacuum, lol. It would clog it up for sure. Unless it was like an industrial grade vacuum, but even then you would still have to unload it right after. Nate says she also has the great glove videos here already. Yeah, thank you. Also, my previous live stream did really well because, well, obviously I wore leather gloves during it, and I wore stiletto pumps, patent black pumps, and flip-flops that I dangled in front of the camera. So whether you're a hand person or a foot person, I have it all for you. And if you want even more, you can go on iwantmara.com. Nate says, were they leather? I thought they were satin. Yeah, they were leather. They were leather with lace embellishments. Nate says, also glove and boot person. Hehe. Red heart. All right, back to A Christmas Carol. But what did Scrooge care? It was the very thing he liked. To edge his way along the crowded paths of life, warning all human sympathy to keep its distance, was what the knowing ones call nuts to Scrooge. He's funny. I think he's really funny. How come I didn't see this when I was younger? Dang it. All right. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting weather, foggy withal, and he could hear people in the court outside going wheezing up and wheezing down, beating their hands upon their breast and stamping their feet upon the pavement stones to warm them. Oh, I know how that feels. If you guys watched my Europe tour, the last leg of that tour in Copenhagen was so cold. It probably wasn't even that cold to the locals, but it was so cold for me because I just came from like 80-degree weather in Greece. And my feet were, I had 2 pairs of socks on, 2 layers of socks. One of them was like ankle socks, and then I had on top of that compression socks that went up to my knee, and boots on, and I still couldn't feel my toes when I was outside. I walked around the Tivoli Gardens and so cold. So I totally get what they're talking about here. The city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already. It had not been light all day, and candles were flaring in the windows of the neighboring offices like ruddy smears upon the palpable brown air. The fog came pouring in at every chink and keyhole, and it was so dense without that although the court was of the narrowest, the houses opposite were phantoms. Ooh, spooky. To see the dingy cloud come drooping down, obscuring everything, one might have thought that nature lived hard by and was brewing on a large scale. Very like gothic steampunky. The door of Scrooge's counting house was open, and he might keep his eye upon his clerk, who in a dismissal little cell beyond, a sort of tank, was copying letters. Yeah, everything was manual back then, so word for word, letter by letter. And in beautiful calligraphy, too. At least they had beautiful handwriting back then. Now I can't even read what guys write because it looks like chicken scratch. You guys need to practice your handwriting. I still write in cursive because I think it's more aesthetically pleasing. Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clerk's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like one coal. That's how stingy he is. He won't even warm himself up. It's such a small fire. But he couldn't replenish it, for Scrooge kept the coal box in his own room. He probably locked that too. And surely, as the clerk came in with the shovel, the master predicted that it would be necessary for them to part. So he sent him home instead of having him stay there so he wouldn't have to give him coal. Wow. Wherefore, the clerk put on his white comforter and tried to warm himself at the candle, in which effort, not being a man of strong imagination, he failed. Oh, that reminds me of the little match girl. That was such a tragic story. Nate says, I have no idea if you like the character or are interested, but there's a Batman version of A Christmas Carol, a graphic novel called Batman NOEL. Really good book. The art is amazing. Ooh. I love Batman. I love the universe of Batman. What is it? Batman NOEL. Ooh. Oh, wow. It's got really high reviews. 4.5 out of 5 at 288 reviews on Amazon alone. The cover's cool. Very Batman. Cool. Oh, Batman Scrooge. That's going to be an interesting one. I like it. Bradley says little match girl laughing with crying. Why is it funny? It's not funny. She perishes. Gaming Hub says, can you show us one of your chastity collections? Yeah, I'm not going to do that now because it'll ruin the whole surprise factor. I have everything planned out. In a couple weeks, you'll see a video. If you're subscribed, you'll know when I premiere it. I'm already telling you that I have a collection, so you should, how do you call it? That should already be enough for you. Greedy subs, you guys want more and more and more. Bradley says the name. Yeah, it's because she was trying to sell matches to survive and then ended up freezing to death. There was no lesson on that one. It's just cruel humanity. Nate says, I think you'll love it. Batman, Superman, Catwoman, Robin, Joker are in it. Ooh, yeah! It's a classic, guys. And lady. And yes, Batman is Scrooge, and the ghosts are Catwoman, Superman, and Joker. Ooh! Ooh, I might like it. Purchase it for me! That can be your contribution. Here, I'll link it for someone to purchase it for me. I love graphic novels, actually. I have a bunch in my room, my bedroom. All right. Oh, it's $30 for a hardcover. I would prefer the hardcover, honestly. I like feeling my books in hand. Oh, come on. Go. Okay. There. All right. P.S. I have shoes to match my outfit today. So if any of you shoe or foot worshippers want to see that, you know what to do. All right. Back to A Christmas Carol. A Merry Christmas, Uncle, God save you, cried a cheerful voice. It was the voice of Scrooge's nephew, who came upon him so quickly that this was the first intimation that he had of his approach. Bah, said Scrooge, humbug. Such a classic line. He had so heated himself with rapid walking in the fog and frost, this nephew of Scrooge's, that he was all in a glow, and his face was ruddy and handsome. His eyes sparkled and his breath smoked again. A Christmas humbug, Uncle, said Scrooge's nephew. You don't mean that, I'm sure. I do, said Scrooge. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough. Man, I feel like everybody has that one, like, grumpy, maybe not even just one, but a grumpy ass family member. Come then, returned the nephew gaily. What right have you to be dismal? What right have you to be remorse? You're rich enough. Touché. Scrooge, having no better answer ready on the spur of the moment, said, bah, again, and followed it up with humbug. Don't be cross, Uncle, said the nephew. What else can I be, returned the uncle, when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas, out upon Merry Christmas. What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money, a time for finding yourself a year older but not an hour richer, a time for balancing your books and having every item in them through a round dozen of months presented dead against you. If I could work my will, said Scrooge indignantly, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. He should. So this guy, not wishes, but would prefer everyone to die in a very horrific death for saying Merry Christmas. Oh my God, it's so good. Bradley says, man, that's deep. I think this is hilarious. It's so awesome. Okay. Uncle, pleaded the nephew. Nephew, returned the uncle sternly. Keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine. I thought he was going to say, keep Christmas in your own pants. Keep it, repeated Scrooge's nephew. But you don't keep it. Let me leave it alone then, said Scrooge. Much good may it do you. Much good has it ever done you. Man, this is the most dialogue that's ever happened in this story so far. And it's about Merry Christmas, the statement. Oh, it's so great. Okay. There are many things from which I have derived good, by which I have not profited, I dare say, returned the nephew. Christmas among the rest. But I'm sure I have always thought of Christmas time, when it has come around, part from the veneration due to its sacred name and origin, if anything belonging to it can be apart from that, as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time I know of, in the long calendar year of the year, when men and women seem by one consent to open up their shut-up hearts freely and to think of people below them as if they were fellow passengers to the grave, and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. Ooh, I like that a lot. And therefore, uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good and will do me good, and I say God bless it. I'm not sure about the God part in there, but you know, it's kind of it's a statement. We get the picture. The clerk in the tank involuntarily applauded. Becoming immediately sensible of the impropriety, he poked the fire and extinguished the last frail spark forever. Let me hear another sound from you, said Scrooge, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. You're quite a powerful speaker, sir, he added, turning to his nephew. I wonder you don't go into Parliament. Actually, that was quite a good statement. If this story can be condensed into what the lesson is that Scrooge needs to learn, they say it right here. I didn't realize that the nephew had told him exactly what he needed to learn right in the beginning. All right. Don't be angry, Uncle. Come dine with us tomorrow. See, this kid is so sweet. He's even inviting his uncle to dinner, even though he's poor, even though his uncle said that he would rather see other people dead for saying Merry Christmas to each other. Scrooge said that he would see him. Yes, indeed, he did. He went the whole length of the expression and said that he would see him in that extremity first. But why? Cried Scrooge's nephew. Why? Why did you get married? Said Scrooge. Because I fell in love. Because you fell in love, growled Scrooge, as if that were the only one thing in the world more ridiculous than a Merry Christmas. Good afternoon. Wait, so Scrooge never got married? I guess. I thought there were some iterations, I guess, of this story that wasn't a part of the actual story, but inspired by the story, where the uncle became bitter because the wife had died. I don't remember if that's part of this original one, so I don't think so. Nay, uncle, but you never came to see me before that happened. Why give it as a reason for not coming now? Good afternoon, said Scrooge. I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why cannot we be friends? Oh, he's so sweet. Good afternoon, said Scrooge. I'm sorry with all my heart to find you so resolute. I have never had any quarrel to which I have been a party, but I have made the trial in homage to Christmas, and I'll keep, well, I'm adding my own flair to this, and I shall keep my Christmas humor to the last. So a Merry Christmas, Uncle. Good afternoon, said Scrooge. And a Happy New Year. Good afternoon, said Scrooge. Oh my God, this is so good. Ah. Nate says, Domina, I bought the book for you, plus the opera gloves from your wish list. 2 gifts from this slave with a heart of gold to a wonderful goddess like yourself. Oh, thank you so much, Nate. And because you have told me so many really good things, I will actually gift you a exclusive selfie after all of this, like after I stream, now that I have your email address. See, when I have generous subs and followers like you, I myself will be generous back. I love the golden rule. I think everybody should partake in it. The golden rule is treat others the way you would like to be treated. And I feel like that goes for any you know, situation. Whether I am mistress to subs, I still feel that generosity should, you know, reciprocate. And that's how you keep a very long-lasting relationship with dynamics. So that's my lesson to all of the subs and fetishists out there and kinksters. But thank you, Nate. Nate says, thank you, Domina. I don't know if I could get one with the gloves once they arrive. If so, please remember. Ooh, okay. I was gonna give you one in this outfit, kind of, but I'll do that instead. Raymond says, his sister died in childbirth. Oh. Ooh. Yeah, that's heavy. Bradley says, at Nate, that's nice, man. You know you could follow in his footsteps, too. I have more things on my wish list. Also, guys, give this video a thumbs up when you have chance. All right, back to A Christmas Carol. His nephew left the room without an angry word, notwithstanding. He stopped at the outer door to bestow the greetings of the season on the clerk, who, cold as he was warmer than Scrooge, for he returned them cordially. There's another fellow, muttered Scrooge, who overheard him. My clerk with 15 shillings a week and a wife and family talking about Merry Christmas. I'll retire to Bedlam. This lunatic, in letting Scrooge's nephew out, had let 2 other people in. Okay, so he's the narrator, the narrator is like, I can't tell if he's like trying to be in the mind of Scrooge, or just alluding to how Scrooge would think, because this is such a great picture. It's like, you know how when stores are about to close and you're like, wait, I just have one thing that I need to buy, please let me in, and they're just like, if you say something or if you sneak right in, they have to let you purchase that thing because you're already in the door. And this is exactly the type of scenario that Scrooge is that Scrooge is in. He's just like, don't let anybody freaking in, don't let the cold in. Even though they are customers or, you know, potential clients. Nate says, I tweeted about the live on Twitter. I just noticed you didn't, so I helped. I didn't? I thought I did. Really? Uh-oh, maybe it didn't go through? Checking Twitter now. Nate says the last was the previous live. What? No. Thank you, Nate. Maybe you'll get more than one, photo. Okay. I'm retweeting you. It's so strange. I had it ready. Maybe, I think I know what happened. Wait, really? Hang on. Yeah, it didn't send. Dang it. All right. Thank you, Nate. Mark Scott has thumbs up emoji, 3 black hearts, 1 smiley face, thumbs up. Nate says, you're welcome. Red heart to you too. Oh, actually, I could do that. Woohoo! Okay. So yes. This lunatic, in letting Scrooge's nephew out, had let 2 other people in. They were portly gentlemen, pleasant to behold, and now stood with their hats off in Scrooge's office. They had books and papers in their hands and bowed to him. "Scrooge and Marley's, I believe," said one of the gentlemen, referring to his list. "Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?" "Mr. Marley has been dead these 7 years." Oh wow, that's a long time. Scrooge replied. "He died 7 years ago this very night." Oh man. He died on Christmas Eve? "We have no doubt his liberality is well represented by his surviving partners," said the gentleman, presenting his credentials. It certainly was, for they had been 2 kindred spirits. At the ominous word, liberality. Scrooge frowned and shook his head and handed the credentials back. Nate asks, "Did you hit Alt and 3? I hit Shift and then the left caret and then 3. Hehe. El Matador. Hello, Miss Mara. Hello. Welcome to my channel." Bradley says, "That's tragic." Bradley, I like your reactions. They're kind of funny. I'm pouring myself some more agua. Alt plus 3. Let's see. Alt plus 3. Alt plus... Wait, do I have to do plus 3? It gives me the pound sign, which I never knew that I could do through that. Hold Alt, then press 3. Yeah, I am. It's the pound sign. Are you on? I'm on a Mac, so I don't know if that makes a difference between Macs and, how do you call it? Windows? Maybe is it Command? No. Control? No. Yeah. It doesn't work. Krishma says, yeah, so I do what Krishma does without the space. The left caret and the 3. Am I throwing up gang signs? St. Charles says, "Don't forget the greater than and left angle bracket." Yes, I'm using the greater than and the 3. Nando says, "Hi from New Zealand again." Hello. Welcome back. Nate says, "Are you doing the whole story in this live?" I don't know. I think it's quite long actually, because I'm just on the first chapter and I only got to 3 pages and this first chapter has 12 pages. So I don't know. I feel like if I was gonna read it all the way through, I probably wouldn't do it with commentary and I probably wouldn't do it live. But I'm just reading what I can because I think it's hilarious and I actually kind of like it. How are you guys feeling about it? Are you like, do you enjoy listening to the story? Do you like my commentaries while I read the story? Krishma says, "New Zealand is the best." Nando, where in New Zealand? I'm saying Nando. It could be Nando, but that sounds so American. Nando. Nate says, "Oh wow, and you're over an hour in. Might need a full day to do this." Well, oh my gosh, already? I am! Whoa! That went by really fast. See, this is why I'm on for like 4 hours and I don't even realize it. Oops, sorry. Christmas says, probably Maori or a Nandu in India, lol. Bradley says, yeah, the story is cool. Yay! St. Charles says, far be it from me to disparage Charles Dickens. Nando says, last time you were live for 4 hours. Yeah, I know. Clearly, I don't realize how much time has passed because I thought I was like at 45 minutes, but apparently I'm 65 minutes in already. So yeah, hope you all are having fun. I'm reading the first chapter, the third page of Christmas Carol. It's so good. It's really funny. Nate says, time flies when you're having fun. It sure does. Carlton says, film biopic about Charles Dickens and his creation of A Christmas Carol, The Man Who Invented Christmas, 2017, starring Dan Stevens. Ooh. You guys are teaching me so many good things today. All right, so The Man Who Invented Christmas. So did you guys know that the first Christmas tree was actually erected in Britain? I don't remember what year. Wait, maybe, was it 1812? $1871. Wait, no. So there was the 1605 was the first decorated indoor tree that was recorded. So The Man Who Invented Christmas. Oh, I've seen oh, this is on Amazon Prime actually. Huh. Cool. Christmas says time and relative dimension in space. Right? It kind of reminds me, have you guys read the book A Wrinkle in Time? I've never seen the movie, obviously. Of course, Disney did it. But the book was actually kind of really trippy. And I read that when I was young, too. Like 12 or something. And I was like, whoa. That book took me on a loop. Carlton said it is listed as a comedy drama. Huh. It looks quite serious on the, how do you call it? The theatrical billboard or the theatrical poster. It looks like a serious kind of magical type of genre. Raymond says there were some good radio versions with Basil Rathbone, Lionel Barrymore, and Charles Lawton that go for half an hour or so. Oh, very good. Moody says, hello, mistress. I missed you, Pink Heart. Oh, welcome back to my channel. Nate says, trivia. The author Charles Dickens, his descendant is actor Harry Lloyd, who's done many film and TV, including Viserys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. No way! Man, he was good because I hated that character. He was terrible. Huh. Wow. Good looking guy. Jeez. Was Charles Dickens a good looking guy? Somebody in there, one of them were... Oh no, Charles Dickens was a very caricatured type of person. Maybe when he was younger, I don't know. Very distinguished beard though. Krishma says, time is literally speed and point of view. So in The Wrinkle in Time, it was based on a fantastical sci-fi notion that you could literally bend and warp space and time. So wherever you are in the web of space, like physical space, can also warp and change time. And the story was based on that linear thought, which is pretty cool. I really highly recommend it. I want to read it again. I think I still have the book somewhere because it was so trippy. I remember it being like, what? Carlton says, for what it's worth, it's given a 4-star rating. Yes, I saw that. The movie, yes, the comedy drama. St. Charles says, I prefer the version with Jim Backus as the voice of Mr. Magoo as Ebenezer Scrooge. That would be cool, yeah, to hear. Sissy Boy says, cada día es más hermosa, mistress, y gracias por sus videos. Su sonrisa es muy linda. Bella ama. Muchas gracias, Sissy Boy. Nate says, did you like the recent film version of A Wrinkle in Time? I haven't seen it. I actually went to go see the short films that were created inspired by the film at the El Capitan here in Los Angeles. However, I haven't seen the actual film yet. I'd heard that it didn't necessarily live up to the book, as most movies don't. But I'll give it a try, because I hear that the visual effects are still stunning, of course. So, Moody is asking if I've watched any Kink movies. Not recently. Krishma says, I don't know, maybe you can travel forward in time, but never backwards. I don't know. I mean, there's different theories on relativity, so I'm just a spectator on science, you know? Until I see it happen, until I see time travel happen for real, I think that it's gonna blow the world up. Like, possibly literally. Matt asks, what color are your toenails today? My toenails and fingernails have been nude since lockdown started. The first lockdown started. Nate says, because the director of the recent Wrinkle in Time, one of her upcoming films she is doing is New Gods, which is DC Comics property. Oh, isn't that by Neil Gaiman? Correct me if I'm wrong. That looked good too. But, wait, no, that's American Gods. Right? Maybe I'm mixing stuff up. Hold on. This is why I need to look stuff up before I say stuff. Nate says New Gods is by Jack Kirby, who also created Marvel. Neil Gaiman is the American Gods. Yeah, okay. Yes. So it makes sense that she would do it because Wrinkle in Time was done by Disney and Disney owns Marvel. So are you a cinephile or do you work in the entertainment industry, Nate? Let me know if that's too private to answer publicly. Nando says no lockdown in New Zealand since March. Oh, you lucky bastards. We started our first lockdown in March, and then in LA we have started our second lockdown since last week, I believe. Carlton says, some say you can only go as far back in time as to when actual time machine was built. Yeah, again, lots of different theories. So, Moody says, you are always so attractive. Heart eye emoji. Thank you. Krishma says, people always misunderstand Einstein's time dilation to time travel, like in Superman. I never watched Superman, so I hate to say it, but Superman is not necessarily my favorite. I think he's a good superhero in the sense, like, as a representation, like a symbol of superhero representation and strength. But I mean, his backstory and stuff doesn't really inspire me. And I think characters like Batman, who have tragedy in his past and who do a little bit of philanthropy and choose kind of not to be wedded or have children because they decide that something else bigger in their life, like helping people and saving them from criminals, means more. I don't know. That's just me. That's my personal opinion. Krishma says, people always misunderstand. Oh, wait, no, I read that. Nate says, I wish. I want to be in film. I have a number of ideas. I just know these things because A, they are my interest, or B, connected to my interest, or C, whatever, lol. Well, can I ask what your industry is that you work in? If you are working? Carlton says, at Krishna, have you read Arthur C. Clarke's Profiles of the Future? Highly recommend. That's a good title. I like that. Profiles of the Future. Jerome says, Jerome says, how do you feel every time you trample on someone's face? I don't trample their face with my full body weight. I put my feet on their face. I love doing that. I actually said in a previous live stream that one of my favorite things to do if somebody likes to worship my feet is cover their face with both of my soles at the same time. Nate says, you don't need tragedy to be an interesting character, ? No, you don't, but it builds character. I think Superman is too, like, perfect in the sense, like, he's an alien from outer space who has, like, the perfect body. He's super strong, bulletproof, has laser vision, x-ray vision, and, like, all this stuff. And it's like, the people who were human first and then something happened to them, whether they lost a loved one due to a scientific malfunction and became mutated in some way with their DNA, and then they choose to do good things because of that, is more appealing to me. Like, because having someone die in a scientific explosion and you kind of burning yourself and melting or changing your DNA, that's kind of tragic, I think. So it builds character and it gives you purpose, because once you have this ability, like a superpower or something, it's up to you to decide what to do with it. Whether you want to use it, and then if you wanted to use it for good or bad. Eden says, well, I need to go to sleep, so thanks for taking the time to read to us. Miss Mara, good night, and hope to see you in the next week's stream. Yeah, I will be on hopefully earlier. I've been working on a lot of different projects lately, but check back definitely next week and the week after, because I'm coming out with my personal chastity collection. So stay tuned, and thanks for stopping by, Eden. Sissy Boy says, una sissy siempre debe usar jaula de castidad. No. Y yo tengo, yo tengo una colección de castidad en 2 semanas. So, how do you say come back soon. I think it's revolver. It's like to come back. I don't know. Nate says, I don't work in film, sadly. Krishma says, I like Naruto has more value, more sad past, and he even forgave the guy who killed his dad. It's like Batman talking to Ra's al Ghul, and they save Gotham together. I mean, again, it's like about the greater good. So Batman's priority has always been to save Gotham because that's his only family left. Like, that's his home. And so he's not going to let criminals like the people who killed his parents to run loose in the city and possibly cause that tragedy to other people, innocent people. So, yeah. Krishma says, will do, Carlton. Nate says, oh wait, there's some tragedy in Superman. If there is, I don't know of it because, like I said, I'm not really interested in his story, but you're welcome to post it if you like. Carlton says, at Krishma, thumbs up, talks about the fourth dimension and Mobius strips. Krishma says, thanks, Triple X, Carlton. Bradley says, didn't Superman's parents do something to him as a baby? That's why he is how he is now. I thought they just adopted him. And they were like farmers or something, right? Jerome says, that's interesting insight. How do you normally humiliate your subs when you trample on their face? How do you talk them down, or do you apply some pressure to make them feel pain? Why don't you go check out my clips on iwantmara.com. I have a bunch that are POV that I talk to in front of the camera as if I am trampling on them. I believe one of the ones that I'm talking about is Domina Mara tramples her barn animal or something. So go check that clip out. St. Charles says, yeah, Superman needs a bit more complexity. And because he's not human, like, what do I care? Just because they created him to look like a human, like literally a superhuman being, like that makes me not really empathize with him more because he can take care of himself. And it's great that he helps other people and saves them and everything, but I'm just like, cool. Okay. Nando says, volve pronto. Oh, okay. To come back in Spanish. Got it. Thank you, Nando. Oh, that's right, because, wait, aren't you from Argentina? Correct me if I'm wrong. Raymond said Superman's entire planet and his family was destroyed. Yeah, but there was not enough, like, story behind those people to make me really, at least I didn't read about it, to make me be like, oh man, that sucks. Like, of course that is tragic, but I'm like, it doesn't really, I don't know. Maybe I just don't vibe with him. I don't know. Let's see. Nate says, at Bradley, no. Bradley says, oh, I don't know. Nate says, at Jerome, trampling is or can even mean you're nothing but dirt, adds to the humiliation. Nate says, I'm a Superman guy, so I would answer and defend that this isn't the time or place. This is her time and place. Thank you, Nate. You get like gold stars today. I mean, I'm probably not as, because I'm not into him, I don't know much about him, so I already know that I have ignorance to his timelines. But, you know, I respect you if you like him, of course. He portrays good, so, you know, I back up anything that is positive influence in people's lives. He's just not for me. Jerome says, thank you for sure. I will check it out. One last question. Have you ever had subs request for sinky stocks or feet when you trample on them? Yes, I've actually taken off some stockings and shoved them into their mouths, and they have to keep it in there while I do those things. And I've also sold my worn socks to people across the country and actually internationally too. I've sent them to, where did I send them to? Somewhere in Europe. Nanda says, yes, you are right. I'm from Buenos Aires. Sorry, I have to say is the best city in the world. Oh yeah, we had this conversation because I lived in Buenos Aires for 2 years. And we talked about Milanesa and Fredos. Man, that was the last time you were on my stream. That was a while ago. You should watch my other streams. Moody is asking, do you accept young subs? I do if you are the right age to apply. In my country, at least. ABCD. I love your ABCD, EFG, H. Black suede boots with this outfit will look amazing, goddess. If somebody tips me to show my shoes, they're quite amazing. They're sparkly. Sparkly pumps. Krishma says, they didn't connect Superman's planet to the audience, just random planet blown due to exploitation. People need to connect with the main character to feel their pain. They need to connect with the main character, but giving backstory to the people that got blown up would have made me care more. So, like in Wonder Woman's story, and I'm not talking about the Gal Gadot movies, the live action ones, because I haven't seen them yet, but the Superman, but the Wonder Woman character, like, they go over her growing up with the Amazons on her, like, in her world. And so I have a little bit more of an affinity towards that because I'm like, oh, cool. Like, she trained with these women. They were badass. You know, all that stuff. And then that world came crumbling down too. And I actually felt something for her and for her people then. Nate says, Domina, another book suggestion, graphic novel, Sunstone, a great BDSM series that's real, heartwarming, and even comedic at times, and what I want in my life. Sunstone, huh? Oh wait, that's an actual crystal or mineral. Sunstone graphic novel. Whoops. I don't believe that this is on... Oh, yes, it is. Wait. It is on Amazon. There's 2 current... Oh, I've seen this, this illustration before, actually. On my timeline on Twitter. Cool. It has 5 stars at 583 reviews on Amazon. Holy crap. Wow. Alrighty. But there are multiple books, so... Interesting. Thank you, Nate. Raymond says Superman has always spoken highly of you. If he exists and knows that I exist, then I welcome it. Carlton says, does London get an honorable mention? For what? Nanda says, yes, sorry, been busy. Busy with what? ABCD says, can you show me your sparkly shoes? Would love to see them. Yes, if you give me a tip of at least $5, you can do that under the chat by hitting that button with a $sign on it and sending me a super sticker or a super chat. I can show them to everyone. Christmas says, yes, exactly, goddess. I think you're referring to Wonder Woman, but yes. Moody asks, are you married? Wow, what's with these personal questions? No, I am not. I don't feel like I ever need to be married. Maybe I'm married to my work. That's the only thing I would marry. Nate says, Domino, what is the plan now? You are at 90 minutes, lol. Oh my God, it just keeps going and going so quickly. Okay, yes, an hour and a half. Ha! Okay. Carlton says at Nate, these live streams can go for hours. Sissy Boy says, Mistress, aún en su vida diaria es dominante o solo cuando ejerce la dominación femenina. Estoy un dominante 24 horas cada día. Yo tengo, yo soy como soy ahora todo el tiempo. Moody says maybe you should make a video with Superman as your sub. If I could find someone who can cosplay as him accurately, maybe. And if you request that as a custom. Krishma says, I would rather do Batman, honestly. Krishma says, we need a movie to show the light side of villains too, how they became villains, like how they lived their ordinary life and became collateral damage in superheroes' actions, and they try to raise voices and then slowly become villains. So the TV show Gotham, not the best rendition, but they did really good things with the characters. Like, I really like how the Riddler, Enigma, became who he was because he kept on being rejected by the chick that he had a crush on. You know, and he was just too smart for his own good, and he just kept obsessing over somebody who would never love him back. So that was really cool. I actually didn't like the portrayal of Gordon, the Commissioner Gordon, in that show, because I feel like they just tried to make him this like sexy detective, and I was like, no, man. Like, the comic books compared, I mean, like, Commissioner Gordon is like this hard edge, you know, street noir guy who like does good detective work, and that's why Batman works so close with him, and they respected each other. And for them to like make him this like, you know, metrosexual dude who gets chicks, I'm like, no. Nanda says, great Spanish, you have not lost it. Oh man, okay, so last stream, I was really, Sissy Boy was on here, and I was struggling. Like, I feel like I'm a little bit better this week because I practiced a little last week, but if you watch the previous stream, it's not great. But I did have, had one of the E guys, not Eddie. I think it was Eden who helped me with Spanish a little bit. Especially when, like, I had to look up, like, BDSM terms, like jaula, and, like, azocar or something, like whipping. I had to look those up, and they helped me with it. So I'm glad you're here, Nando, just in case I need help. Nate says, the BDSM movie where a Superman is a dom sub, they already exist, lol. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Wonder Woman too. Are you kidding me? Same for Batman, even Robin, dominated by Lexi Sindel. I don't watch those, but I'm sure they exist. I'm 100% sure. Carlton says Superman can't dress properly. He wears his underpants over his trousers and pants. Monkey face. Oh my god, that's so good. Well, at least he can undress properly. He just shreds his, like, suits and stuff to get into his leotard or whatever. Krishma says, unlike Superman, Supergirl is really good. Yeah, I agree with that. I guess females born goddess. Wonder Woman, Supergirl, etc. Power Girl too. Power Girl was also like, okay, well, she was a little too perfect too, though. She's in the Marvel side, I think. Nando says, always happy to help with Spanish, no worries. When I have a session with you, we'll request, if you're okay, only Spanish to be spoken. I don't think I'd be confident enough to order things in Spanish. I can try, but it's not going to last very long. Because I'm always going to be like, ¿Cómo se dice? Like, I'm going to ask that all the time. La cosa que... Krishma says Supergirl has more emotional moments. It's not all Christmas and New Year like Superman. There's pain and sorrow and human moments and human problems. Yeah, I love that. So if somebody has like if they added more of that into Superman's storyline, I probably would have liked him more. But yeah, Supergirl's cool. I like her better. Nate says, Wonder Woman's creation is tied to bondage. If you watch Professor Marston and the Wonder Women, it's about how she was created. Pretty good too. Yeah, like a lot of guys really loved that she was in that leotard and then also had like the lasso, which is basically Kimbaku or Shibari for the Western world. Raymond said, what is the music in the background? It's actually an antique phonograph music program from Columbia Orchestra, and it's called The Kitty's Christmas Frolic Part 2 in the evening. Yeah, I found it on a free music site, so. Moody, I cannot say your question or answer that on this platform. Nanda says, true, hard to help you if you have me cat. Yeah. Good to fantasize, though. Nate says, you think it was just the suit and lasso? There's more, lol. I mean, she has boots on, too. And, like, steel bracers. I don't know a lot about her either. I honestly don't follow a lot of the superheroes because it doesn't really exist in this world, and I'm not going to put my hope in what humanity could be when it's not like that. The only reason why I was so tied with Batman was because I actually grew up watching the animated series as well as Batman Beyond on Warner Brothers. After like school or something, a couple times. But yeah. Carlton says, with the rise of mobile phones and the demise of phone booths, Superman's options of transforming are rapidly diminishing. Well, honestly, we just need better leaders in the world. Krishna says, Death Note, L is kind of perfect, but in a good way, too much darkness and mystery, and it's white and gray morality. So I think he's actually quite white and black. I love Death Note. I actually read the graphic novels before watching the animated series, but the animated series did such a good job with animation as well as translating the story into it, because they pretty much like did it straight on from the books. And I think they had to make L kind of quirky, like very eccentric, because he is perfect. He's like the perfect mind. And I don't think there is gray in his morality, because he was able to make judgments and call them and say, do this, do that, because I can predict that this or that is going to happen. Nando says, can I say enough of superheroes that lol? Krishma says, maybe because you are a superwoman, lol, goddess. Why, thank you. Nate says, plus Batman has Catwoman, and you took one look at her and said, this is my future. I do. I have a vintage Catwoman graphic novel. It's like really small, and it's her costume is the one piece in gray, and she had hair coming out, and she had a whip and tamed like all the big cats, like tigers, lions, in the jungle and stuff, and she was awesome. I still have that book somewhere, actually, in San Francisco, and I need to go find that. I think it's on my, I don't know. I think it's on my bookshelf. Moody says, please do your next live chat R-rated. If you're not tipping me or going to my OnlyFans has past live chats that have a sub there. I actually play with a sub on camera, so you can subscribe to my OnlyFans. Sissy Boy says, Mistress, realmente sí que disfruta mucho ser dominante porque se ve muy feliz al hablar del fandom. Sería lindo estar a sus pies 24/7, sirviéndole de esclavo y estar a su servicio, hermosa mistress. I don't understand what you're asking. So he says, in reality, if you have fun being a dominant, why do you seem happy to talk about femdom? Huh? Nando, get in here. What's he asking me? No entiendo, Sissy Boy, no entiendo tu pregunta. Cuando soy un dominante, soy feliz. Of course. Claro que voy a ser feliz cuando yo trabajo y cuando yo, I don't know, live life. Nate says, translate, mistress, it really does enjoy being dominant because she looks very happy when she's talking about femdom. It would be nice to be at her feet 24/7, serving as a slave and being at her service. Oh, so, okay, so I read realmente as in like, in reality. I switched some things. Beautiful mistress, that's what I got from the translation. Hope I'm right. I think you are more right than I am. Okay. Sissy Boy, yo entiendo y ahora y gracias. All right, maybe I should go back to reading A Christmas Carol. Carlton says, Miss Mara, your 7-foot pirate friend would make a good Superman. Christopher Reeve was 5'6", R.I.P. My pirate friend's really, really skinny, though. He's like the opposite of Superman. Superman's like super buff and muscular, and my pirate friend is like really lanky and very, very, he's muscular too, but you can see all his bones as well. Very lean. Carlton, Nanda says, yes, he can see you enjoy being dominant and he would like to be at your feet 24/7. Thanks, guys. Nate says, we're now asking for accuracy. Oh. Wait, why'd you retract it? Okay. So, A Christmas Carol. At this festive season of the year, Mr. Scrooge, said the gentleman, taking up a pen, it is more than usually desirable that we should make some slight provision for the poor and destitute, who suffer greatly at the present time. Many thousands are in want of common necessaries. Hundreds of thousands are in want of common comforts, sir. See, this is a second hint that Scrooge is getting from people about being more giving. Nate says, we're not asking for accuracy with Superman in a prono, lol. I think there are better models out there for that, though. Sissy Boy says, se ve muy feliz de ser dominante. Gracias. Yo soy muy feliz cuando soy dominante. Carlton says, prono. And he has the laughing with the crying eyes. Yeah, we have to say stuff like that here. Oh my gosh. The next line in the Christmas Carol is amazing. Are there no prisons? Asks Scrooge. He wants to lock up the poor because they can't afford to live. Oh no. Okay, wait. My phone isn't charging. Why? Hang on. I may need to check something. Okay. I think my phone said it was at 20%, so that means it wasn't charging at all. All right, it's plugged to the wall. So either the cable isn't working or something is off. Sissy Boy says, y sería lindo ser su esclavo 24 horas del día, 7 días de la semana. Va a ser mucho trabajo para ti. No es fácil para ser mi sub. Krishna says, who is your most favorite hero and the villain who you kind of like support? Carlton, like in Good Place, you can't swear. Lol. I mean, yeah, I would avoid it because unfortunately I can't have that on this platform. So I think Catwoman is probably my favorite villain. And in my interview with Wannabe TV, I actually talk about why I like her. So go watch that interview because I also answer the question with celebrity role models and who I like. And favorite hero? I don't know. Like I said, heroes don't really mean much to me because they aren't real. I want to see real good people, you know, in the world. Like real good leaders. And there just isn't any. I don't know. I really had a thing for Batman Beyond, though. Who was like a high school kid in the future. Carlton at Krishma. I know, right? Reminds me when I was young and my father taught me to play chess with prawns. You mean... Prawns? You mean pawns? What? This is getting more further and further away from the hub. We can also call it the hub, you guys, if that's what you want to talk about. Krishma says Carlton like how Gordon Ramsay teaches his kids to swear with food items. Oh my gosh. It's like that meme where he slaps 2 pieces of bread on a woman and says, "What do you call yourself?" And she goes, "An idiot sandwich." Nate says, if you like Catwoman, I recommend Selena's Big Score. Think Catwoman meets Ocean's 11. Is that the feature film? I really liked Catwoman, the short film that was done by, it was a direct-to-video by Warner Brothers, animated. Oh, graphic novel. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, I love it. Yeah, like, espionage and, like, high value theft is like, I love watching films in that genre. So Manda says, I've seen some of your YouTube videos with Ashwadamana. I had a session with her and loved it. I would love to have my next one with you. I'm very different from her, actually. I am a lot more sensual, and yeah, my style's different. But you will love it with me. If you like who I am now, you will enjoy your time with me. Carlton says, man, that dude can swear. Gordon F. Ramsay. Oh, yeah. All right. Back to A Christmas Carol. Nanda says, different in what way other than more sensual? I feel like she has a lot of, like, from what I've seen on the videos that she puts out, she has a lot of, like, joy instructions where she kind of does humiliation and stuff like that, and degradation. I kind of am more nurturing, and I like to entice my subs to do things for me in a more, like, lighthearted way. You know, kind of like to make them laugh and chuckle a little bit, and I provide more of a spiritual sensation to things. So, Carlton says, I used to say fudge and shoot as a youngster. Oh, I say mofo now. Like on a day-to-day. I have a potty mouth, actually. Yeah. I try not to, but it comes out worse than a sailor sometimes. Nanda says, yes, makes sense. I can see that coming from her. Totally understand. Yeah. And I'm not into, I actually don't like humiliation unless the person really deserves it. I'm more into connecting with them and making sure that they can, like, I'm into transforming them. If you could see from my short films, I'm all about that transformational aspect of kink. Let's see. So, A Christmas Carol. Are there no prisons? Asked Scrooge. He wants to put all the poor into prisons because they can't afford a normal lifestyle like he can. Plenty of prisons, said the gentleman, laying down the pen again. And the union workhouses, demanded Scrooge. Are they still in operation? They are, still, returned the gentleman. I wish I could say they were not. The treadmill and the poor law are in full vigor then, said Scrooge. Both very busy, sir. Oh, I was afraid from what you said first that something had occurred to stop them in their useful course, said Scrooge. I am very glad to hear it. Under the impression that they scarcely furnish Christian cheer of mind or body to the multitude, returned the gentleman, a few of us are endeavoring to raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink, and means of warmth. We choose this time because it is a time, of all others, when want is keenly felt, and abundance rejoices. What shall I put you down for? That's the end of page 4. So, actually, this is a great paragraph to go to link it back to Nando's question about how I perceive kink, because I find that there's a warmth that comes out of me that has to do with like the generosity in my goddess self, if that makes sense. And that creates abundance in the chemistry and the energy that I share with my subs and how we play together. And it makes for a long-lasting relationship. I'm not trying to reach to like connect the story of A Christmas Carol to my life, but it just made me think of that. And I was like, yeah. Christmas says, I say fork. I say fork when I'm around food, or like, you know, it has a food setting. I don't know, it feels weird saying bad words. I'm not a bad kid, lol. You double quotes, full stop, comma, hashtag. Nate says her likes and everything else can be on her website, social media, as well as FetLife too. I mean, I don't need to see them. I'm not going to play with her as a sub, so it doesn't really affect me. Yeah. To each their own. I am only interested in what I'm interested in and how I play. If I double with anyone, that's when we kind of like compromise and like play off of each other, but we definitely have our own styles. Sissy Boy says, ¿Qué le pasa a una Sissy que no logra cumplir con una orden? Tienes que reserva una sesión conmigo para ver. Yeah, I don't know. Nando says, humiliation is not my thing at all. Same as financial domination. I mean, I love those things in its specific contexts. Like, I love financial domination, but I always work with a budget. So I'm not like those girls that you see online who don't care about the sub and just, you know, try to drain them. I'm actually quite sensitive to people's well-beings and, you know, work with a budget. I'm going to, okay, there. Krishma says in Night Flare, many females say they do only real blackmail. That's kind of creepy. Or some ultra-realistic good work action if it's fantasy. Yeah, almost. I would like to say 95% of the females on that site are not real. They just do it for money and say that they are. Same with Twitter. Like, there's so many non-real ones. It's kind of crazy. That's why you gotta do your research. Nate says, oh no, you were talking about what you are like. So I was reminding people where to go to get the answers on who you are and what you like and do. That's all. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant where I could find Astro stuff. I was like, no, I know where I could find her stuff. But yes, if you don't know much about me, I have a ton of videos on my YouTube channel as well as my website, which I've taken hours and hours to write, as well as art on there. I had monthly sets that I put out for the last 3 years that have femdom art. So check it out if you haven't seen my stuff already, to give you more of an idea of who I am. Nando says, verlo, yes. Thanks. Carlton says, I don't like swearing in general conversations. No need, in my opinion, especially in front of women. I'm old school. Yeah, so if you're talking like this, if we're having a conversation like this, I don't feel the need to either. But if I am really excited about something and I'm really casual with my family or really close friends, it'll come out because I'm like, did you see that mofo over there? And it'll just like come out. There's no malicious intent behind it. It's just more of an expression. We're just like, damn, that thing was so cool. Did you see that? Like, you know, stuff like that. That's not really a swear word, but you know, still kind of crude, I guess, to some prudes. Krishma says, I mean, legit, it's not like a description. It's like a legit warning, and they specifically don't even message if you don't want real blackmail. I don't do fantasy, etc. I'm scared and intrigued. Well, it's, you know what you're getting into, so it's up to you to advise yourself, I guess. I don't endorse any of them, though. Nate says, you were talking about one of the doms at the places who aren't real. One of the things I do is help doms by exposing scammers and other fakes who use their pic/name. So I'm an ally and many know this. Ah, that's great. I mean, I'm not the type to like name names unless somebody has done something specifically and personally to me. So I'm not going to go out on a vendetta to be like, oh, this person did this, oh, this person did that. And even like there is a dom who did something that was personal to me. A couple of them actually. But I'm not going to go out on a rampage and like tell everybody, hey, by the way, this person did this. Like, I'm a little bit more classy than that. But if anybody comes to me specifically and asks me about those specific people and what I think of them because they actually, you know, appreciate and respect my judgment and me as a person, I will tell them in a tactful way what my experience was like. Carlton says, stubbing my toe, banging my nails with a hammer on the other hand. Okay, yeah, I spew out like 4 to 5 curse words in a string if I do the same. So I feel you, Carlton. Nate says, the scammers I'm talking about are those who aren't real at all, aka catfish and demand money and can have traumatized people who they contract and they buy their real. Yep. Yeah. All right, enough of that depressing topic. I'm gonna go back to reading A Christmas Carol. Nothing, Scrooge replied. You wish to be anonymous? I wish to be left alone, said Scrooge. Since you ask me what I wish, gentlemen, that is my answer. Don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I help to support the establishments I have mentioned. They cost enough, and those who are badly off must go there. Many can't go there. Many would rather die. If they would rather die, said Scrooge, they had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Besides, excuse me, I don't know that. But you might know it, observed the gentleman. It's not my business, Scrooge returned. It's enough for a man to understand his own business and not to interfere with other people's. Mine occupies me constantly. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Man, that's kind of like a double-edged statement, because there are some people who I think are a waste of space in this life. And they're taking up air that we breathe. However, I mean, like, what am I going to do about it? But then there's also good people who are struggling and just have a really bad hand at life. So I don't know, to be selfish, to not, to do your part, to not. I've gone through like volunteering stuff when I was younger. My schools made me volunteer, and it was a really good experience for me. It builds character for myself, and I think that I wouldn't necessarily be 100% the person that I am today without experiencing those things. Dan says hi. Hi. I am reading A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And then doing commentaries and reading your guys' comments as well. Seeing clearly that it would be so useless to pursue their point, the gentleman withdrew. Scrooge returned his labors with an improved opinion of himself and in a more facetious temper than was usual with him. Krishna says, on doubt in a session once I gave Facebook to her, I asked her specifically not to post or message anything, but she messaged my mom some stuff, but she deleted it immediately. So do you think you could trust someone like that? No, I think you're kind of dumb to trust someone like that. Yeah, no. Carlton says, if an IG account is less than a year old, then I would proceed with caution, possibly fake/scammers. Yeah, someone had posed as me, and I got it taken down immediately because a bunch of other people reported it, and they were doing it with multiple other DOMs. And one thing that they're really doing right now is using a DOM who passed away recently. They're using her old photos from her like accounts and becoming like fake mistresses. I don't know if it's to scam. Well, it probably is to scam people, actually. Nate says, I mean, if someone asks for your help by asking for your account, the answer is one huge no. Why would anyone agree to that? Right? Common sense. I would never. I don't even give that information to my friends or family. Like, why? I don't, yeah. If people find me and want to follow me, that's great, because obviously I'm a public figure. But if there's people who just, yeah, want sessions and stuff like that, I don't know. Nate says, passed away. I think I know who you're talking about. She was my idol. Yeah, I never met her, and I messaged her once to try to meet her, but I think it was already too close to the end, unfortunately. So, R.I.P. All right. Story time. Nate says, is it whom we are talking about? Mistress Adrian. Yes. Meanwhile, the fog and darkness thickened so that people ran about with flaring links, proffering their services to go before horses and carriages and conduct them on their way. An ancient tower of a church, whose gruff old bell was always peeping slyly down at Scrooge out of a Gothic window in the wall, became invisible and struck the hours and quarters in the clouds with tremulous vibrations afterwards, as if its teeth were chattering in its frozen head up there. Ah, such good metaphors. The cold became intense. The main street at the corner of the court. Some laborers were repairing the gas pipes and had lighted a great fire in a brazier, around which a party of ragged men and boys were gathered, warming their hands and winking their eyes before the blaze in rapture. The water plug being left in solitude, its overflowing sullenly congealed and turned to misanthropic ice. Ah, such good adjectives. Makes you really wonder, like, what happened to people's vocabularies, because people don't talk like this anymore. The brightness of the shops where holly sprigs and berries crackled in the lamp heat of the windows made pale faces ruddy as they passed. Poulterers' and grocers' trades became a splendid joke, a glorious pageant with which it was next to impossible to believe that such dull principles as bargain and sale had anything to do. The Lord Mayor, in the stronghold of the mighty mansion house, gave orders to his 50 cooks and butlers to keep Christmas as a Lord Mayor households should. And even the little tailor, whom he had fined 5 shillings on the previous Monday for being drunk and bloodthirsty in the streets, stirred up 2 marrows pudding in his garret, while his lean wife and babies sallied out to buy the beef. Carlton says, maybe watermark your photos. I did. What they ended up doing was taking my selfies, which I didn't watermark because they're selfies, and then cropping in. They would take photos and crop in. But because I actually made all of these images myself, I actually have some sort of copyright leeway. So, yeah. Carlton says 9 photos or less is a good marker of a fake account. It wasn't 9, it was like 20. But yeah. Foggier yet and colder, piercing, searching, biting cold. If the good Saint Dunstan had but nipped the evil spirit's nose with a touch of weather as that, instead of using his familiar weapons, then indeed he would have roared to lusty purpose. God, it's such good literature. Ah! The owner of one scant young nose gnawed and mumbled by the hungry cold as bones are gnawed by dogs, stooped down at Scrooge's keyhole to regale him with a Christmas carol. But at the first sound of "God bless you, merry gentlemen, may nothing you dismay," Scrooge seized the ruler with such energy of action that the singer fled in terror, leaving the keyhole to the fog and even more congenial frost. So AKA Scrooge gave the door some impact play and it scared the little bugger off. Krishma, my chat is not for your, like, how to avoid scams purposes. If you are here to interact with me, that's great, but yeah, please don't spam my chat. Thank you. At length, the hour of shutting up the counting house had arrived. With an ill will, Scrooge dismounted from his stool and tacitly admitted the fact to the expectant clerk in the tank, who instantly snuffed his candle out and put on his hat. "You'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose," said Scrooge. "If quite convenient, sir." "It's not convenient," said Scrooge, "and it's not fair. If I was to stop half a crown for it, you'd think yourself ill-used, I'll be bound." The clerk smiled faintly. "And yet," said Scrooge, "you don't need me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work." The clerk observed that it was only once a year. "A poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December," said Scrooge, buttoning his greatcoat to the chin. "But I suppose you must have the whole day. Be here all the earlier next morning." Wow, so he's not even letting this guy take off a day to celebrate Christmas with his loved ones. Carlton says, sorry, Miss Maya. No worries. It's just be aware that this chat is made for advice, and once I've given my advice, that's kind of, it. I'm not here to talk about or endorse or, do anything verified. That's not what I do because I'm a real dom. So Nate said, I had to step out. What happened? You didn't really miss much. I was just reading A Christmas Carol while a couple of people were asking about verification. But I don't do that, and I don't want to talk about it because it's nothing that I can give advice to more than do your research. Christmas says, is working on Christmas that bad? You get twice the pay, right? Lol. I mean, if you don't have anywhere to go and if you don't have any family to spend it with, yeah, sure. But most people do. And so for people to work on a day that's supposed to be about like gifting and being around everybody, it's kind of, I don't know. I would give it off. Nate says, oh, okay, well, they should have to. It is a federal holiday. Oh, they should research. Yes. Talking about verification. All right, I'm going to continue reading the story. The clerk promised that he would, and Scrooge walked out with a growl. The office was closing in a twinkling, and the clerk, with the long ends of his white comforter dangling below his waist, for he boasted no great coat, went down a slide on Cornhill at the end of a lane of boys, 20 times in honor of its being Christmas Eve, and then ran home to Camden Town as hard as he could pelt to play at Blind Man's Buff. Not quite sure what that last part means, but I think it's maybe a card game. Christmas says I would gladly go, lol. I do have friends and family, but I don't know. Christmas feels sad to me, like nostalgic sad. I actually really like it. I enjoy it. I've always had really cheerful Christmases and very heartwarming ones. This year I was supposed to go to Argentina, actually. Too bad. I don't know if Nando's still here, but I was supposed to go on the border of Argentina and Chile to go see the solar eclipse that's happening. But that event is no longer available due to the pandemic. So it's kind of sad, but now I get to do my own thing, I guess. Nate says, Blind Man's Bluff, a children's game in which a blindfolded player tries to catch others. Huh. It's a children's game, but he's a grown man. All right. Maybe it's a kinky version. Who knows? Christmas says, Christmas was pleasant as kids. Now that we're all grown up, I miss childhood. Yeah, me too. But there's a lot of things that I don't think I could have done that I can now do. And so, pros and cons. Right. We are at a 2-hour mark. It is approaching midnight, so maybe I don't know, I don't think I'll even finish this chapter because I'm only halfway through it, page 6. But I'll at least finish this page. Nate says, what you can do now versus can't then, your work, lol. Yeah, but at that time, I also, I guess, had the luxury of other people doing things for me, like feeding you, telling you when to go to bed. I mean, they also told you when to wake up, which kind of sucked. But I'm an early riser anyway, so I don't know. I guess you were just taken care of when you were younger, and now you have to like kind of fend for yourself, which obviously I don't mind because that's what I do. But Nate says that now you do that with your subs. Laughing face. That is 100% true. This is why I never will have children, because I already have children. My subs are my children. Krishma says, if I'm at home, I will see all adults doing all mature adult stuff. I like being a kid and playing kids games, like Monopoly and other kids stuff. I like Cards Against Humanity. Because when you're really... when you're drinking and having a ball that way, you get some really interesting answers and see the real side of people. And you can't do that when you're kids. Scrooge took his melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern, and having read all the newspapers and beguiled the rest of the evening with his banker's book, went home to bed. He lived in chambers which had once belonged to his deceased partner. See, his partner did die. I was right. They were a gloomy suite of rooms in a lowering pile of build-up, a yard where it had so little business to be that one could scarcely help fancying it must have run there when it was a young house, playing at hide-and-seek with other houses, and forgotten the way out again. It was old enough now, and dreary enough, for nobody lived in it but Scrooge. The other rooms being all let out as offices. The yard was so dark that even Scrooge, who knew its every stone, was fain to grope with his hands. The fog and frost so hung about the black old gateway of the house that it seemed as if the genius of the weather sat in mournful meditation on the threshold. Now it is a fact that there was nothing at all particular about the knocker on the door, except that it was very large. It is also a fact that Scrooge had seen it, night and morning, during his whole residence in that place. Also, that Scrooge had as little of what it is called fancy about him as any man in the city of London, even including, which is a bold word, the corporation, aldermen, and livery. Let it also be borne in mind that Scrooge had not bestowed one thought on Marley since his last mention of his 7 years dead partner that afternoon. Man. That's real harsh. And then let any man explain to me, if he can, how it happened that Scrooge, having his key in the lock of the door, saw that the knocker without its undergoing intermediate process of change, not a knocker, but Marley's face. Oh yeah, that's right. In the Disney version of A Christmas Carol, Scrooge sees the knocker as someone else's face. Obviously his partner's face. I remember it transforming now. Animated, of course. Nate says, Marley? Yeah, he's gone when the story opens. Yeah, I know, but in this paragraph, he's saying, the narrator is saying that Scrooge didn't even think about him since his death, and only spoke about him that afternoon because two guys came in and asked if he was Scrooge or Marley. And he was like, oh no, Marley's dead. He's been dead for years. So that's the only time he's ever mentioned his partner, which is pretty like harsh for having built a whole empire with this guy. Nate says, oh, okay, nice setup, winky face. Next page. Marley's face. It was not in impenetrable shadow as the other objects in the yard were, but had a dismal light about it, like a bad lobster in a dark cellar. Bad lobster? Okay. Lobsters are pretty creepy looking. I used to be kind of like disgusted with them when I was younger, but now I find them very delicious. It was not angry or ferocious, but looked at Scrooge as Marley used to look, with ghostly spectacles turned up on its ghostly forehead. The hair was curiously stirred as if by breath or hot air, and, though the eyes were wide open, were perfectly motionless. That, and its livid color, made it horrible. But its horror seemed to be in spite of the face and beyond its control, rather than a part or its own expression. As Scrooge looked fixedly at this phenomenon, it was a knocker once again. Oh, his visions are starting. Nate says, several years ago, I worked at retail, and my friend grabbed a lobster for a customer from the tank with his bare hands. Ooh. Yeah, that's kind of risky. I mean, the good thing about lobsters is that they kind of pinch forward and backward and side to side. They pinch laterally. They don't necessarily pinch up unless they're lifted in a way, which is still lateral to them. Crabs, on the other hand, they wander and walk side to side, but they reach and grab at every point. Carlton says, wasn't Marley in chains? A kinkster till the end, winky face. Yes, but I think that was in one of his visions when he wakes up, right? So we're not there yet. But we're just, because this chapter is called Marley's Ghost. So, well, maybe by the end of the chapter he does show up. Because isn't he the ghost of Christmas past? Because he's dead, so I don't know. Nate says at Carlton, I didn't want to mention that part or anything like that because she might not remember. Plus, spoiler, lol. Oh, I probably should have said spoiler alert. I remembered it, though. My favorite one is, like, the future ghost who doesn't say anything and is basically, like, the Grim Reaper / death. Spoiler alert. Let's see. Nate says, fine. Marley is the one who warns Scrooge of the ghosts. Past, present, and future. Oh, okay. I'm going to ask this now because I'm probably never going to get to it because it's going to be long. But was his wife, his late wife, Scrooge's late wife, one of the ghosts? I feel like, wasn't she like the past or the present or something? Where he was, I don't freaking remember. I just know the last one because I like the last one. Nate says nope. Oh, really? Krishna says, I guess the 3 ghosts would get depressed after it shows my vision to me. I mean, I don't know. Scrooge's future was looking pretty grim. Haha, pun intended. Nate says, past shows him a past where he could have had a wife. Okay, so I thought the ghosts were actually people from his past or like... So I think in another inspired TV series that had like Christmas Carol storyline, the past was like his partner. The present was the wife, like saying, dude, look at how miserable you are now. Your partner passed. I passed. Do you really want to pass, like, miserable? And then the last one is death. I don't remember what TV series that was. Nate says, present shows him what society thinks of him when he's not around. Yeah. So, kind of similar to what I said, like, in that TV series, the wife tells him, look, everybody's like suffering. Do you want people to see you like be this douchebag and then be miserable being lonely for the rest of your life, basically? Christmas says, my life is definitely lifeless, an empty shell. You can't lose something you never had. It's like showing time travel to an ordinary person. Nate says, future is where things will go if he doesn't change. Yeah. Christmas says, to be sad, you need hope. No, not necessarily. If you want to change from being sad, you need hope. Nate says, P.S. Same thing in Batman NOEL. I know you can't wait for that now, lol. I can wait. I'm patient. Patient enough. Nando says, I am here, yes. Wait, Nando, refresh your page because I said that like a long time ago. Nando says, yes, the solar eclipse is happening tomorrow. No! Oh man, I'm so sad. I don't get to see it. Raymond says, if you like crabs, check out the Attack of the Crab Monsters from 1957. I don't like crabs. I mean, they're delicious too to eat, but yeah. They also have a meme that's like Crabbo the Stabbo. It's like a crab with a knife like taped to its claw. Christmas says, Nate, remember when Batman scared the boo out of the evil ghost? Nate says, according to my email, it'll take a couple days, lol. The gloves, meh, longer. No worries. I do appreciate that, though, so thank you again, Nate. And also, somebody tip me so that I can show you my shoes. I picked a good pair today. Nando says, darkness in the middle of the day. Yes, I've seen the solar eclipse once. It was in Oregon, Portland, in the United States, and in 2017 there was a festival that was up there. Same festival that was actually supposed to do the one in Patagonia. And it was such an experience. It was really magical. Like, everywhere you looked around you 360, there was a halo of like sunlight, and everything else looked like the end to a sunset. And obviously you could see the corona shining behind the black dot in the sky. It was like, it looks exactly like the photos, but in person, to see that shimmering rainbow iridescent effect, it's like nothing else. So I would chase the solar eclipse again anytime. Eddie says, hey, Miss Mara, a little late because I was sleeping. Uh-oh, did you wake up randomly and then just jumped on chat? Or were you taking a nap? But either way, welcome back. I was just talking about people not tipping me yet for my shoes because I have awesome shoes today and they're sparkly. Obviously, I'm in theme for the holidays, wearing my velvet green plush jumpsuit. And I'm reading A Christmas Carol with my tiger, who someone else thought was real, which is great. Okay, so back to A Christmas Carol. To say that he was not startled or that his blood was not conscious of a terrible sensation to which it had been a stranger from infancy would be untrue. But he had put his hand upon the key that he had relinquished and turned it sturdily, walked in and lighted his candle. So right now we are still on the first chapter where it's Marley's ghost. His partner had died. Scrooge has left his workplace and has gone home and is starting to see visions of his partner saying, or like giving him like spooky feels because he's been so grim about Christmas. He did pause with a moment's irresolution before he shut the door, and he did look cautiously behind it first, as if he half expected to be terrified with the sight of Marley's pigtails sticking out into the hall. But there was nothing on the back of the door except the screws and nuts that held the knocker on. So he said, Poo-poo, and closed it with a bang. What a guy. Eddie says, I remember the August 2017 eclipse. Darkness was beyond comprehensive. Yes! It happened around my birthday too, which made it even more special. This Gotham says, show us your outfit. You look amazing. You gotta tip me for that. I don't do these things for free. You can't order me, I order you around. Eddie says, it was a nap. My sleep schedule is messed up pretty bad. Yeah, lockdown. I mean, I logged on late also because I was napping too. But I've also been like hard at work doing a lot of projects. As I mentioned, so since there's kind of a new group of people, I'm going to mention right now that I have, in 2 weeks, going to be releasing my own chastity collection. And it's going to be beautiful and super me, and I'm really excited for it. So stay tuned for it. I'm obviously going to do a video on it. And yeah, you can purchase it. Also, for those who are new, I have also launched my own Amazon store, and I have a video that I put out yesterday about that. It has a bunch of different kink products that are found on Amazon that you can buy, and they will ship it to your home or wherever you want them to ship it to if you want to upgrade your hardware or just buy new implements to spice things up this holiday season, you know, to keep yourselves warm. All right. Gotham's asking, how do you control submissives' minds? I can use hypnosis, or I'm just dominant and they follow my orders because that's what they're there to do. That's what they're seeking. The sound resounded through the house like thunder. Every room above, every cask in the wine merchant's cellars below appeared to have a separate peal of echoes on its own. Scrooge was not a man to be frightened by echoes. He fastened the door and walked across the hall and up the stairs, slowly too, trimming his candle as he went. You may talk vaguely about driving a coach and 6 up a good old flight of stairs or through a bad young act of parliament. Man, that line is so British. But I mean to say, you might have got a hearse up that staircase and taken it broadwise, with the splinter bar towards the wall and the door towards the balustrades, and done it easy. There was plenty of width for that, and room to spare. Well, you could have said that in the first place, but I guess you had to give us some sort of a visual, which is perhaps the reason why Scrooge thought that he saw a locomotive hearse going on before him in the gloom. Half a dozen gas lamps out of the street wouldn't have lighted the entry too well, so you may suppose that it was pretty dark with Scrooge's dip. Wow, there's a lot more visions than I thought in the beginning before he even goes to bed. Carlton says at this rate it's going to be an all-nighter. No, I'm not going to finish. I think I'm going to finish just this first chapter, which is 5 more pages, but I'm almost 4 pages. I'm at the end of the 5th one already. Sitting room, bedroom, lumber room, all as they should be. Nobody under the table, nobody under the sofa, a small fire in the grate, spoon and basin ready, and the little saucepan of gruel, Scrooge had a cold in his head, upon the hob. Nobody under the bed, nobody in the closet, nobody in his dressing gown, which was hanging up in a suspicious attitude against the wall. Lumber room as usual, old fire guards, old shoes, 2 fish baskets, washing stand on 3 legs, and a poker. Wow. He's acting pretty suspicious for someone who doesn't get spooked easily. Nando says, I'm here, yes. There's a solar eclipse in Argentina tomorrow, yes. Would be cool to be there, haven't been back home in 5 years now. Yeah. I haven't been there since 1999? No, wait. 1998 maybe? I don't know. Okay. Next question. Or next page. Quite satisfied, he closed his door and locked himself in. Double locked himself in, which was not his custom. He's scared. Thus secured against surprise, he took off his cravat, put on his dressing gown and slippers and his nightcap, and sat down before the fire to take his gruel. It was a very low fire indeed, nothing on such a bitter night. He was obliged to sit close to it and brood over it before he could extract the least sensation of warmth from such a handful of fuel. Oh, that's a mouthful. The fireplace was an old one, built by some Dutch merchant long ago and paved all around with quaint Dutch tiles, designed to illustrate the scriptures. There were Cains and Abels, Pharaoh's daughters, queens of Sheba, angelic messengers descending through the air on clouds like feather beds, Abrahams, Balazars, apostles putting off to the sea in butter boats, hundreds of figures to attract his thoughts. And yet that face of Marley, 7 years dead, came like an ancient prophet's rod and swallowed up the whole. If each smooth tile had been blank at first, with power to shape some picture on its surface from the disjointed fragments of his thoughts, there would have been a copy of old Marley's head on every one. Love it. It's haunting him. Eddie says, I came across this other channel of German lady who thinks foot fetid. That's not a complete sentence. But a lot of people are doing that now. And as Graham said the other day, people are getting restricted because maybe they're doing it in a way that is not appropriate for this platform. Nanda says, now you got me homesick, lol. Eddie says he thinks foot fetish is divine. She lets people compliment, but how divine are paraphilias? That's a good question. I think that somebody who gives out their secrets immediately doesn't really remain mysterious or interesting for very long. So, I mean, I don't know if she probably does. She doesn't sound like she's a professional, so maybe she's just seeking compliments. Gotham says, I'm your biggest fan. I like your character very much. Thanks. My Amazon wishlist is posted just in case you want to send something for me for liking me and who I am for the holiday season, because Christmas is coming up. I'm gonna plug myself. All right. Humbug, said Scrooge, and walked across the room. After several turns, he sat down again as he threw his head back in his chair. His glance happened to rest upon a bell, a disused bell that hung in the room and communicated for some purpose now forgotten, with a chamber in the highest story of the building. It was with great astonishment and with strange, inexplicable dread that as he looked, he saw this bell begin to swing. It swung so softly in the outset that it scarcely made a sound. But soon it rang loudly, and so did every bell in the house. This might have lasted half a minute or a minute, but it seemed an hour. The bells ceased as they had begun together. They were succeeded by a clanking noise deep down below, as if someone were dragging a heavy chain over casks in the wine merchant's cellar. Scrooge then remembered to have heard that ghosts haunted houses were described as dragging chains. Oh, here's a dragging chains. The cellar door flew open with a booming sound, and then he heard the noise much louder, on the floors below, then coming up the stairs, and then coming straight towards his door. It's humbug still, said Scrooge. I won't believe it. Man, what a stubborn old coot. His color changed, though, when, without a pause, it came on through the heavy door and passed into the room before his eyes. Upon its coming in, the dying flame leaped up as though it cried, I know him, Marley's ghost, and fell again. The same face, the very same. Marley in his pigtail, usual waistcoat, tights and boots, the tassels on the latter bristling, like his pigtail and his coat skirts, and the hair upon his head. The chain he drew was clasped around his middle. It was long and wound about him like a tail. It was made, for Scrooge observed it closely, of cash boxes, keys, padlocks, ledgers, deeds, and heavy purses wrought in steel. Oh yeah, I forgot about that too. His body was transparent so that Scrooge, observing him, looked through his waistcoat and could see 2 buttons on his coat behind. It's getting good. All right. Gotham says, how many personal submissives do you have? 1. 1 personal. Why? Because it's really hard to fill those shoes in. And you can watch my video on that called Personal Submissives. Eddie says, I thought about that too. It sounds weird considering the divine pretty much condemns everything that doesn't seem holy. It's not that it condemns, it's just that it's on another level on its own. And if she doesn't understand that, or if she thinks of it in a different perspective, then that's totally okay for her. But that is not how I or many of my colleagues do that. So, to each their own. It's her channel. She can do whatever she wants. I have more fun with mystery, personally, so. Nate says, also hard to find someone who's serious and not needing a fix or something. Yeah. And to be honest, it usually always comes down to money. If money is a priority, it will, you'll see it like that. Carlton says, this is like a free audiobook with commentary and personal live chats. Gotham's asking, when will Jesus come back? I don't know, but a lot of people are waiting for him. Doesn't seem like it's anytime soon. Moody says, I like what you are wearing. It's very sexy. Thanks. And if someone tipped, you could see shoes too. Eddie says, the year 6000 apparently. Yeah, that's long after we're all gone, so. All right. Scrooge had often heard that Marley had no bowels, but he had never believed it until now. No, nor did he believe it even now. Though he looked the phantom through and through and saw it standing before him, though he felt the chilling influence of his death-cold eyes and marked the very texture of the blindfolded kerchief bound its head and chin, which the wrapper that he had not observed before, he was still incredulous and fought against his senses. Stubborn, stubborn. How now, said Scrooge, caustic and cold as ever. What do you want with me? Much, says Marley's voice. No doubt about it. Who are you? Ask me who I was. Who were you then, said Scrooge, raising his voice. You're particular for a shade. I was going to say to a shade, but substituted this as more appropriate. In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley. Can you sit down? Asked Scrooge, looking doubtfully at him. I can. Do it then. Scrooge asked a question. He didn't know whether a ghost so transparent might find himself in a condition to take a chair, and felt that in the event of it being impossible, it might resolve the necessity of an embarrassing explanation. But the ghost sat down on the opposite side of the fireplace, as if he were quite used to it. You don't believe me, observed the ghost. I don't, said Scrooge. What evidence do you have of my reality that beyond that of your senses? I don't know, said Scrooge. Why do you doubt your senses? Because, said Scrooge, a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. You may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. There's more gravy than of grave about you, whatever you are. Scrooge was not much in the habit of cracking jokes, nor did he feel in his heart by any means waggish then. The truth is that he tried to be smart, as a means of distracting his own attention and keeping down his terror. For the specter's voice disturbed in the very marrow in his bones. To sit staring at those fixed glazed eyes in silence for a moment would play. Scrooge felt the very deuce with him. There was something very awful, too, in the specter's being provided with an infernal atmosphere of its own. Scrooge could not feel it himself, but this was clearly the case, for the ghost sat perfectly motionless, its hair and skirts and tassels still agitated as by the hot vapor from an oven. "You see this toothpick?" said Scrooge, returning quickly to the charge for the reason just assigned, and wishing, though it were only for a second, to divert the vision's stony gaze from himself. "I do," replied the ghost. "You are not looking at it," said Scrooge. "But I see it," said the ghost, "notwithstanding." Page 10 out of 12. "Well," returned Scrooge, "I am but to swallow this, and be for the rest of my days persecuted by a legion of goblins, all of my own creation. Humbug, I tell you, humbug!" At this, the spirit raised a frightful cry and took its chain with such a dismal and appalling noise that Scrooge held on tight to his chair, and to save him from falling in a swoon. But how much greater was this horror when the phantom, taking off the bandage around his head, as if it were too warm to wear indoors, its lower jaw dropped upon its breast. Oh, wow. This is very horror-like. It's great. Scrooge fell upon his knees and clasped his hands before his face. "Mercy," he said. "Dreadful apparition, why do you trouble me?" "Man of the worldly mind," replied the ghost, Do you believe in me or not?" "I do," said Scrooge. "I must. But why do the spirits walk the earth, and why do they come to me?" "It is required of every man," the ghost returned, "that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men, and travel far and wide. And if that spirit goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death. It is doomed to wander the world. Oh, woe is me." So dramatic. Oh, woe is me. "And witness what it cannot share, but might have shared on earth, and turned to happiness." This is a lesson for all you guys. So anybody who has unrequited love or unrequited things in life, gotta do it. You gotta just do it, because life literally is too short. And you might find that in some way, shape, or form, there might be some good that comes out of it. Eddie says this audiobook is amazing. Thank you. Again, the specter raised a cry and shook its chain and wrung its shadowy hands. "You are fettered," said Scrooge, trembling. "Tell me why." "I wear the chain I forged in life," replied the ghost. "I made it link by link and yard by yard. I girded it on of my own free will, and of my own free will I wore it. Is its pattern strange to you?" Scrooge trembled more and more. "Or would you know," pursued the ghost, "the weight and length of the strong coil you bear yourself? It was full as heavy as long as this, 7 Christmas Eves ago. You have labored on it since. It is a ponderous chain." Scrooge glanced about him on the floor in expectation of finding himself surrounded by some 50 or 60 fathoms of iron cable, but he could see nothing. "Jacob," he said imploringly, "old Jacob Marley, tell me more. Speak comfort to me, Jacob." Now he wants to be comforted. "I have none to give," the ghost replied. "It comes from other regions, Ebenezer Scrooge, and it is conveyed by other ministers to other kinds of men. Nor can I tell you what I would. A very little more is all permitted to me. I cannot rest, I cannot stay, I cannot linger anywhere. My spirit never walked beyond our counting house. Mark me. In life, my spirit never roved beyond the narrow limits of our money-changing hole, and weary journeys lie before me. It was a habit with Scrooge, whenever he became thoughtful, to put his hands in his breeches pockets, pondering on what the ghost had said. He did so now, but without lifting up his eyes or getting off his knees. He starts the contemplation. Nando says, just randomly wanted to ask you, what is your favorite gag and what do you think of hand over mouth? So I like gagging with my hand. I like gagging with fabric. So like my stockings or pieces of fabric that you can tie between the teeth. I'm not really fond of silicone ones, but I do own a few. I like hand over mouth for breath play. And I also like using my legs and my arm for breath play as well. Eddie says he's doing necromancy because he speaks of death waking up and following him. You saying he's scaring himself? Gotham is asking, why do you like dominating? Watch my interview with Domadiction. I say why and how I got into it. All right, 2 more pages left for this chapter. You must have been very slow about it, Jacob, Scrooge observed in a businesslike manner, though with humility and deference. Slow, the ghost repeated. 7 years dead, mused Scrooge, and traveling all the time. The whole time, said the ghost. No rest, no peace, incessant torture of remorse. You travel fast, said Scrooge. On the wings of the wind, replied the ghost. Man, this guy is telling, okay, his partner is telling him how much he suffered. And Scrooge is here just going, so, you got to travel the world. How was it? Oh, man. Nanda says, wow, wrestling hold is my biggest turn on. Yeah, see, now you got a session with me because I got really strong legs. You might have got over a great quantity of ground in 7 years, said Scrooge. The ghost, on hearing this, set up another cry and clanked its chains so hideously in the dead silence of the night that the ward would have been justified in indicting it for a nuisance. Oh, captive, bound, and double ironed, cried the phantom, not to know that ages of incessant labor by my immortal creatures for this earth must pass into eternity before the good of which is susceptible is all developed. Not to know that any Christian spirit working kindly in its little sphere, whatever it may be, will find its mortal life too short for its vast means of usefulness. Not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one's life opportunity misused. Yet such was I. Oh, such was I. See, this is why you guys shouldn't do bad things in life, because it'll come back to haunt you. If you believe in the afterlife or reincarnation. Nanda says, I can see that. Potaba Kit. How are you, Miss Mara? With a crown emoji. I'm doing well, thanks. I'm reading Christmas Carol. We are almost done with the first chapter. And I think I'm going to end it after that because this is a longer story than I remember. Or obviously it goes faster when you're not reading it out loud. Gotham says, I want to be your permanent submissive, but I don't have more money. You have to provide something. Otherwise you can find another dom who would be able to take you in. But you were always a good man of business, Jacob, faltered Scrooge, who now began to apply this to himself. He's trying to apply this to himself to make himself feel better. Business, cried the ghost, wringing its hands again. Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. Getting poetic here. Remy says, hello, Miss Mara. Hello. It held up its chain at an arm's length as if it were the cause of all this unveiling grief and flung it heavily upon the ground again. At this time of rolling year, the spectre said, I suffer most. Why did I walk through the crowds of fellow beings with my eyes turned down, and never raise them to that blessed star which led the wise men to a poor abode? There were no poor homes to which its light would have conducted me. Eddie says, the ghost seems like a tortured soul. He can have power like dimension travel, so he goes and comes around as he pleases. Yeah, but also he's being tortured by all of his past ignorances and shortcomings with humanity. So what if you can travel if you are unhappy the entire time? It's like when rich people are unhappy and they will never find happiness because they aren't there. They aren't whole. They aren't all there. Carlton says, I believe in reincarnation. That's why I'm leaving all my money to me. With the halo on his emoji. John Black says, good morning from Vienna. Good morning and welcome to my channel. I am reading A Christmas Carol by the illustrious Charles Dickens. We are ending the first chapter with the last page and a half. And I'm also making commentary because I haven't read this book in a really long time, and I'm actually really enjoying it a lot now that I'm older. And so are some of you guys, which is pretty cool. Remy says, I just adore how you remember my name. I adore you, goddess. Then you should tip me, or you should purchase something off of my wish list, which is pinned to the chat. Eddie says, the dead envy the living. I think it can go both ways. I think it depends on the context and your perspectives in life and your situation, current situation. And I think it also depends on where you go afterwards, if there is somewhere to go. Gotham asks, what's your favorite movie? The Fall. Nate says, let's see if you finish in 25 minutes. It's 3:35 a.m. here, and bed is soon. Well, same with me. I'm going to bed soon as well when I finish this chapter. So 1.5 pages left. Let's go. Scrooge was very much dismayed to hear the spectre going on at this rate and began to quake exceedingly. Hear me, cried the ghost. My time is nearly gone. I will, said Scrooge, but don't be hard upon me. Don't be flowery, Jacob. Pray. How is it that I appear before you in a shape that you can see? I may not tell. I have sat invisible beside you many a day. It was not an agreeable idea. Scrooge shivered and wiped the perspiration from his brow. That is no light part of my penance, pursued the ghost. I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate, a chance and hope of my procuring Ebenezer. You were always a good friend to me, said Scrooge. Thank ye. You will be haunted, resumed the ghost, by 3 spirits. Scrooge's countenance fell almost as low as the ghost had done. Is that the chance and hope you mentioned, Jacob? He demanded in a faltering voice. Nate says, we'll go together, lol. Carlton says it might have to be the abridged version. Yeah, I'm not finishing the whole story. I'm just finishing the chapter, and this is the last page. Nando says, whereabouts in LA are you based? Sorry, not sure if this is too personal to answer. My apologies. I live in the San Fernando Valley, so like where Sherman Oaks is, roughly. It is. I think I'd rather not, said Scrooge. Without their visits, said the ghost, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1. 1 a.m. you're gonna get a wake-up call. Couldn't I take them all at once and have it over with, Jacob, hinted Scrooge. He's expecting the easy way out. Expect the second on the next night at the same hour, the third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more, and look that. For your own sake, you remember that what has passed between us. When it said these words, the spectre took its wrapper from the table and bound its head as before. Scrooge knew this by the smart sound of its teeth made when the jaws were brought together by the bandage. He ventured to raise his eyes again and felt his supernatural visitor confronting him with an erect attitude with its chain wound over and about its arm. The apparition walked backward from him, and at every step it took, the window raised itself a little, so that when the spectre reached it, it was wide open. It beckoned Scrooge to approach, which he did, and when they were within 2 paces of each other, Marley's ghost held out its hand, warning him to come no closer. Scrooge stopped. Not so much in obedience as in surprise and fear, for on the raising of the hand he became sensible of confused noises in the air, incoherent sounds of lamentation and regret, wailings inexpressibly sorrowful and self-accusatory. The spectre, after listening for a moment, joined in the mournful dirge, and floated out upon the bleak dark night. Scrooge followed to the window, desperate in his curiosity. He looked out. The air was filled with phantoms, wandering hither and thither, in restless haste, and moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chains like Marley's ghost. Some few, they may be guilty governments, were linked together. None were free. Many had been personally known to Scrooge in their lives. He had been quite familiar with one old ghost, in a white waistcoat, with a monstrous iron safe attached to its ankle, who cried piteously at being unable to assist a wretched woman with an infant, whom it saw below upon a doorstep. Misery with them all, clearly, that they sought to interfere for good in human matters, and had lost the power forever. Whether these creatures faded into the mist, or mist enshrouded them, he could not tell, but they and their spirit voices faded together, and the night became as it has been when he walked home. So, aka spooky. Scrooge closed the window and examined the door which the ghost entered, and it was double locked, as he had locked it with his own hands, and the bolts were undisturbed. He tried to say humbug, but stopped at the first syllable, and being, from the emotion he had undergone, or the fatigues of the day, or his glimpse of the invisible world, or the dull conversation of the ghost, or the lateness of the hour, much in need of repose, went straight to bed without undressing and fell asleep upon the instant. So he exhausted himself. So yes, that is the end to the first chapter, Marley's Ghost, of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And actually, with that, we should bid ourselves good night as well, because it is approaching 1 a.m. here. Maybe I'll be visited by a ghost, who knows. Gotham says, where can I pay money to have sessions with you online? You can apply and reserve through my website, dominamara.com, to be considered. Patiba Kit says, thanks, miss, for sharing your reading of A Christmas Carol. The emphasis of your reading is intriguing. Star eyes. May I ask you which film adaptation you like the best? Yes, in the previous chats that you can see on the live chat, and you can actually watch this live stream later on, I have a live stream playlist on my channel. I liked the American version, the 1951. The 1951 one. And also the Disney one with Mickey Mouse and Mr. Scrooge, the duck, was charming. Nate says, it's bedtime now. I know a lot has happened, but please don't forget about me, especially with what we talked about. Until next time, good night, Domina. Red heart, I know. Thank you so much for your tip of purchasing from my wish list, Nate. I do wish you well. Thank you for joining. And yes, I will send you exclusive glove photos when I receive them. Carlton says, this is an interactive audiobook. Thumbs up. Yes, it is. Nanda says, almost 22 hours Monday night here, talking about time travel. I am in the future. Oh yeah, that's right. That's really cool. I love that. I also love like going, when I went to Hawaii earlier this year, the plane ride and shifting those hours was awesome. But yeah, if you guys like this stream and being read to, give it a thumbs up. You can share it if you'd like. If you share it on Twitter, I will retweet it. And if you post it on Instagram, I'll share it on my stories. And yeah, I'm off for the evening. We've streamed for 3 hours. Pativa says, thanks for your answers, with the heart emojis on the smiley face. Good night, Miss Mara. Sleep well, sweet dreams, and a crescent moon. Sweet dreams to all of you. I hope you guys have a happy holidays and that you come back next week, because we are going to possibly be singing Christmas carols. Who knows? But I will be dressed in another type of holiday apparel, and maybe I will bring the same shoes back, since you guys haven't seen these shoes that I have next to me. Eddie says the ghost exhausted himself. Yes. Nanda says, was great to see you again. Next step, a session with you. Can't wait. I look forward to it. All right, take care, everybody, and good night.